What's up, people? I'm back again for number 3. I do want to apologise for the last one. I was watching it back just then. I'm thinking at one stage, like halfway through it, you're kind of babbling on and it's going all over the place. Sometimes I've got so many ideas, but to put them all into perspective, I kind of get lost. So luckily, this is why I do it in 3 parts anyway. So the last part, right? So where was the whole analogy of the pub? Relationships and jobs are the same thing. So where I went into that pub, and or should I say that black kid went into the pub and they were being a certain way towards him because they didn't really know him, so they were being kind of awkward to him, but yet me, they gave me a bit of a chance and this and that. It's kind of the same thing with children, it's the same thing with children. When you step into when you find a half decent woman out there, but then she tells you she has a child, it's going to be hard work. It's going to be hard work. But you should be inspired by the challenge of it, especially if she's a decent woman, because decent women are hard to come by. And I can promise you this, at 41 years old, coming up to 42, is that if you think, especially if you get past, say, like 25 or 27, around about that age there, that there's thousands of good women out there. There aren't. And I've always said this when I used to go to clubs and we were looking hard for them, is that a lot of them are already taken. Guys are snapping them up from the times that they're 15, 16, 17, 18. Guys are snapping them up, and it's not. I was a shy guy. I was just shy for about 20 something years. I was shy. I only developed a pair when I got to about 30 years old. There's guys out there that are confident at 16 years old. They look a certain way, so they're ticking all those boxes for women. So they're swiping these girls up when they're young. So and they're getting them pregnant as well. So by the time that you at say 25, 26, you become a late bloomer. By the time that you suddenly develop a pair of balls now and you're walking up to these girls, they've got children. So if you think that, and the years are ticking on now you're getting to 27, 28, 29, 30. So you're only getting more older. So the older you're getting, the more less chances of you finding a woman without children. So then what do? You go through life as a man alone? No, you don't. So this is what this is all about, is that it will be a challenge. You've met a really decent woman here. She's really decent. She has a really nice heart, but she's been left alone, okay, with 2 kids or whatever, okay. One thing, there's this guy called Doctor. I'm not going to go into his name. I didn't even really want to mention Jesse's name in the previous video, but I'll just say Doctor something, Doctor. And one thing he said is, and this is why this is a positive video, not a negative one, okay. One thing he said is that even in the previous video, what I described with the pub and the racism and this and that, one thing he said is that there will be times especially in a black man's life, when things will be going quite well for you, almost like a race or a competition, and the black man is doing really well, or he's boxing and he's doing really well, and then his competitor says, I can't beat him by strength, but I can beat him psychologically. So the boxer starts saying things like, whispering under his breath, oh, you this, you that, and starts saying racist things. And what it does, it takes him out of his game plan. And then this boxer, because he's taking him out of that kind of calm, focused mentality, he's now got him acting kind of angry and kind of arrogant, and kind of he's lost the game plan now, this black guy. So now he's kind of throwing punches with too much aggression, recklessly throwing them, and he ends up losing the fight. But how the doctor described it is, he said, there'll be certain times where you'll be in a meeting, and it could be like a business meeting, and there could be millions of pounds at stake here, and one person in the room, and it could be any colour, okay, is suddenly, they don't want you to kind of complete this deal, or maybe it's at work and they don't want you to get a certain position, so they suddenly maybe target you, and they kind of come across with kind of psychological kind of attacks. They're attacking you, and what they're trying to do is they're trying to take you out of your kind of out of success mode. Really, they're taking that drive away from you, and what they're trying to do is they're trying to kind of put you in this kind of negative defensive state, Whereas before you were focused, you were driven, you were hard at it, you know. You were someone that was driven to get up in the morning and look for work, and you didn't let anything bother you and this and that. This person's come into your life and they're saying things to you in order to try and disrupt that. They want you to be angry. They want you to be unemployed. They don't want you to make this deal, because this deal could help out many other people. This deal could help out your community. This deal could, you know, it's a big thing. Plus it helps you. This deal could put you on the ladder. It could put you in a successful role. So this person comes along and they try to basically sabotage it by psychologically torturing you or tormenting you. And what this doctor said is that there's certain times in life that you have to kind of bite through it. He said you've got to know as a man how to be strong and how to, you know, keep your emotions subdued. And if we go back to the whole pub scenario, really looking back at it now, because I was quite young, I went about it the wrong way. I kind of ran away with my tail between my legs, and I should have handled it a better way. Okay, it's not about always feeling sorry for yourself. Sometimes it's about biting your lip and just getting on with it. Okay, now if we go into relationships, it's the same thing. A lot of men don't want to take on that burden because basically it's children that isn't their own, and like I said before, sometimes those children may have issues, and all of a sudden now you've come along and yeah, you love this woman to pieces, but the children are kind of, they're behaving in some sort of way. Maybe because their father neglected them and it's just a mother by themselves that's had to raise them. These children are running amok around the house. They're staying up late. You know, there's no respect for their mum when they're talking back, and you feel that you just kind of want to turn around and run away, kind of thing. But just like the job, anything worth any woman, there's two things, isn't there? Anything worth having is worth fighting for, and any good woman, I think any good woman worth having is worth fighting for. You know, you're afraid of that hardship. You're afraid of that kind of yeah, you want it easy. Basically, that's the best way of putting it to you. But what I'm here to tell you is that there is a payoff to it. Just like staying in that job, just like going to that business meeting and there's one guy that doesn't want you to kind of to get this deal because, you know, he doesn't want you to progress in the company, or he doesn't want you to, you know, whatever it is, he doesn't want you to benefit yourself. So he kind of takes you out of that mind frame, takes you out of your game, and beats you psychologically. If it's worth pursuing, if in the long run it's worth pursuing, then you have to bite down your tongue and find another way to make it work. You know what I mean? Rather than kind of rather than sit down feeling sorry for yourself, feeling, you know, sometimes in life we have to kind of fight. You have to fight, guys, especially as men. You know, women might be a little different for women, but especially for us men. And what I'm here to tell men is that sometimes there are some really good women out there, but they've had children, they've had a really bad run-in with guys when they were younger. But it's up to you as a man, if you can, to come along and try to fix it. Now, if it's too deep, if it's a case where the children are saying to you, you're not my dad and this and that, and maybe when you're trying to discipline them, and I'm not talking about disciplining by getting out the belt and beating them, I'm talking about disciplining where you're trying to sit down and talk to these children and they're not respecting you to say that, and you don't think you're strong enough to do it, then walk away. You don't have to sit down, you don't have to stay in the relationship. And the last thing you want to do, like some fathers have done, or some men have done, is actually get these women pregnant with another child and then neglect the first two kids. You can't do that. Who does that? What kind of bum mentality is that? How can you walk into a woman's life and she's got two kids and you choose to have another child of her, and then you neglect the other two kids because they don't belong to you? Who does that? Who in their right frame of mind does that? Who does that? What decent man does something like that? So if this woman, I don't give a damn whether she's the most curviest, most beautiful, slim, you know, buxom, Coca-Cola bottle shape, whatever it is. If you come into her life and you feel that you can't take on those kids, then walk away. Don't have more children with her. Makes no sense. But what I'm here to tell you is that real men do not mind taking on that challenge with children. The same way real men, when they go to work and there's issues like that, they kind of let it go in one ear and out the other. Okay, that is real men. And if you want me to be honest about it, would I regard myself as a real man? Could I do it? I could do it. I could possibly do it if maybe I got there at a young age. So maybe the children were, say, like 2 years old and 3 years old, or 2 and 4, that kind of stuff. I could do it. I don't think I can do it when they're in their teens, like 14, 15, 16. But then saying that, and this is the God's honest truth, some mothers have managed to do quite a very good job. So by the time that you come along, their teen isn't your typical snotty nosed teen that's like, you know, and all that kind of stuff, and you know, and rude, and you know, nothing but problems and drama. Sometimes the 15-year-old or 16-year-old or 14 or whatever is quite well behaved, so you can kind of come into the picture, you know. But if, however, me personally, I tend to stay away from the whole kind of teen thing. I tend to kind of stay away from all of that. But I believe, for me personally, I reckon that I would try or attempt to get with a woman if I really liked her and she had 2, 3 kids or whatever, and they were at a younger age. I probably would take on that burden, because what I want to say to guys out there is just be very careful, because time is clicking. The years go by really fast. They go by really fast, and there are some decent women out there, but you know, for whatever reason, it just didn't work out, and men are afraid to take on that burden because of children. You know, there's no point in you settling down with some woman that has no kids, and yet she's full of drama and this and that. I reckon the only thing I can say what would prevent you from going with a woman like that, rather than one with children, is that you're afraid of commitment. You're afraid of a challenge. You know, you want things to be easy or this or that. The only downside to it is that there is no payoff in life. Just like the whole job thing, there is no payoff. You know, this is a positive video because I'm trying to encourage people out there, especially black men, is to let them know that you have to keep fighting. Okay, you have to keep fighting. You can't run away from your responsibilities, and you can't run away from hardships. Okay, you have to. Just like the perfection philosophy, there's no brownie points. Okay, there's no rewards for doing what's easy. Okay, and I can look you in the face now and tell you, just like, you know, you staying in that job. I'm not saying to people that you stay in a job if it's completely racist, or stay in a relationship with children if they're, like I said to you, if they're running amok, if they're spitting in your face, if they're, you know, I'm not saying you should stay in a relationship like that. But what I'm saying to you is that you have to have adversity, you know, integrity. You have to be willing to fight, and there's a huge payoff. There's a huge payoff in regards to certain jobs. If you can manage to kind of not let that one person, if you can be in a job where everyone's a nice person and there's just one racist in that job, and he's managed to kind of take you out of your zone and get you fired, okay? And then, you know, same thing with a woman. You find a woman of your dreams, she's got 3 kids, one of them is just running amok, okay? But if you can manage to persevere and push through all of that, if you can manage to do that as a man, you can manage to be in that job and take that and say, you know, I'm going to find a way around this. I'm not going to run off. I'm going to stay here and I'm going to stomach it, you know. Then the payoff is 10 times more worth it than you staying in a job that's easy. And in regards to children, it's the biggest payoff you can ever imagine, because there's nothing more fulfilling than protecting the future generation, whether you're white, black, Asian, whatever. There's nothing more fulfilling than protecting one of the young ones, our future generation, turning you as a grown man with balls, with morals and principles and respect, walking into a child's life and turning that child around, you know, turning it around. Almost like walking into someone's back garden and, you know, it hasn't been looked after or whatever, and, you know, you get out your choppers and your lawnmower and you just chop it down, and it takes time because, you know, it's been left unattended for such a long time. But after, say, you know, a month of hard work, hard grafting, you can then finally look around and you say, I done this. You know, I all my hard work has paid off. And it's exactly with children. There's nothing more satisfying to know that, you know, there's no amount of money on God's green earth. There's no 100,000, a million, whatever, that can compare to you protecting life, giving life. Well, it's more than giving life. There's nothing more on God's green earth that's more satisfying than knowing that you have helped another child, a child that's come into this world. You've helped them to become something, something worthwhile. You know, you've given them purpose. You know, where they were broken and they didn't have any sense of direction, you've given them that. So that's all I want to end this on, part 3, and I want to say thank you for watching all 3 of my videos. I know number 2 was slightly boring. You might find, you know, I don't know, maybe all 3 of them were, but I would say if there's women out there with children, take it on board, guys. Don't be afraid. Thank you for watching. I love you. I love all you guys, man. Both women and men. Thank you for watching. Peace.